Welcome to the video, all returning spectators and all newcomers alike. Cutting out of that voice now. Today I want to update you guys on basically what's been going on in the last 2 weeks. And I want to start with saying that it has been 101, 2, 3 degrees. It has been so hot that it feels like no matter how much water I drink, I just cannot hydrate enough. But that being said, the workouts have still been kick-ass. I've been getting really good pumps. I've been able to really push myself in the gym. I've been feeling like even my shoulders have been able to grow a bit. You can probably see a little bit of mass change when it comes to my upper body, and that makes me really excited. Now, as a lot of you guys know, I've been dealing with really bad shoulder pain in my right and my left shoulder, mostly my right shoulder. I've been dealing with impingements for about 2.5 years, and you guys know this has kept me from a lot of pushing movements. I haven't been able to bench for 2.5 years. I haven't done deadlifts or squats in 3 or 4 years because of my scoliosis, so I've had a lot of problems, right? And it's causing me to have to do a lot of working around. Now, I could totally add a lot more mass if I was able to use those huge compound movements, if I was able to do more inclination press. I haven't been able to hit my shoulders for 2.5 years as well, at all. No lateral raises, no shoulder pressing, nothing, rear delt, stuff like that. Recently, I've been able to incorporate very small amounts of rear delt. Now, the important part of this episode that I really want to get across to you guys is that one of my followers, one of my subscribers, Kyle, shout out to you, actually suggested I go see this clinic, this kinetic chain physical therapy center, basically. So what they do is they have you do a couple squats. I went in there yesterday, was awesome. They had a cancellation. I went in there, they had me do a couple squats with my hands over my head so they could look at my chain of movement and see where my chain of movement is breaking down. What she basically said, which was really interesting, was she said, I can see in your right foot you are tight in a certain area, one of your joints in your foot, and it's causing you to shift your weight, which is causing you to press through your right knee, which is causing your left hip to be elevated, or maybe she said right hip, I forget. And then it's causing your left shoulder to overcompensate, tighten the trap up, and your left shoulder is higher than your right shoulder. Now, all of this was unprompted. I didn't tell her about any of these problems. I just let her do her thing. And it was amazing because this is all true. I actually snapped my right ankle about 4 or 5 years ago. I jumped off a curb, landed, rolled outwards, and it popped, and I had a softball foot for like 3 or 4 weeks. It was a huge swollen ankle, and it caused me to compensate, and my lower back is overcompensating. So all sorts of crazy stuff is happening, and this is causing my shoulder not to be able to move properly because my right lat is tight. My AC joint was locked, all sorts of crazy stuff. Now, I say all that to say this. After she did her initial assessment, they showed me a couple exercises, a couple different things. They started working on my body, and this was awesome because I've tried so many different massage therapists. I've gone to a physical therapist at Kaiser, which is my doctor's office and stuff, and none of them actually did anything that helps, you know what I'm saying? They just said, okay, your shoulder's hurting, well then you should do this stretch for your shoulder and you should do some of these band strengthening exercises. And yeah, it helps, but really it just kind of helps me get through a workout, but it doesn't help me get back to benching. It doesn't help me regain mobility, anything like that. I've had these really bad back pains, my thoracic spine is always tight, and it's because of all these issues. She started working on my body and she said that my right AC joint right here where the clavicle connects is so tight she couldn't move my clavicle at all, and she said that she could feel my first rib being out of place. Now, she started working on me. She untightened my lats, she worked through my biceps, things like that, and at one point she actually was able to pop, and I could feel it pop, my AC joint and my first rib back into place, and then my AC joint got a lot more movement. I did the same squats, I was able to move a lot more, and then I went and tried it out at the gym using some of their techniques, and it feels a lot better. By no means am I ready to bench or anything like that, but I was probing her, I was asking her a bunch of questions, and what she said was that she guarantees that I'll be able to bench again. She says that I'm not very far off of that goal by any means. To me, I didn't think I was ever gonna be benching again, so for her to say that, I'm giving her all my trust. I'm gonna do every exercise she tells me to do to re-strengthen myself, and I'm also gonna show you some of those rehab exercises in this video. So I'm gonna make a whole video about this pretty soon, kind of showing you the recipe of this, but we just figured out how to make sushi. We ordered all the stuff that we need for it, and basically we got sticky rice. We're gonna spread it all over this nori, which is just a flat piece of seaweed. After I have it evenly spread out on this, I'm gonna flip it to the other side, and then I'm just gonna fill it with a little bit of avocado and also some slices of carrots that I sauteed in a pan with just a little bit of soy sauce to give it some seasoning. Then you're just gonna roll this up, and I literally have sushi. This blows my mind because I'm used to paying $25 for sushi at the sushi restaurant, and this cost me maybe $4 with all the materials. The reason that this is in this episode is just because I wanted to show you guys one of the newest meals that is becoming a very big staple in my diet, and I thought it was so hard to make, but it's not hard at all. After you wrap it up, put it in saran wrap, cut it up, it is so easy and so delicious. I'm eating this 5 times a week. So basically, because of the injuries that I've had in the past, I've compensated and created new motor pathways, basically new ways that I contract my body and move my body that are actually incorrect, and they're compensated versions of the correct movement. So what I need to do is basically retrain myself from the basics, which kind of sucks, right? Because I've been lifting for 10 years, but I completely understand, because I absolutely compensate, and I can even tell that I do things differently than I used to do it, just so that I don't impinge my shoulder. But that causes a lack of mobility, and that causes me not to be doing things properly, which causes a breakdown. So this is week 1. I see them again in 1 week from now, and these are the rehab exercises that they gave me. This is my homework, basically. The first thing that I'm doing is, I don't even know what you want to call it, but I have a blue yoga pad, one of those like squishy pads. I put it in between my knees. I give my knees a slight bend, and I try to squeeze my glutes. I have to fire my glutes while also pressing my knees inwards on this pad, while also vacuuming my stomach. So I'll show you what that looks like right here. Sucking in my stomach, and as I do that, I generally stick my rib cage up. So then while sucking in my stomach, I have to flatten my rib cage back down. And by doing that, I am flattening the space between my lower back and the wall that I'm pressing against. So during this exercise, there are 4 different things that I have to keep my mind on, and oftentimes I'm finding myself losing firing in my glutes, losing tightness in my glutes, so I have to rethink about that. But basically, I'm supposed to hold this for 10 seconds. I'm supposed to do about 10 sets of 10 seconds. I'm doing more than that just because I really want this to work. And then the other exercise that I'm doing is called a reverse crunch. Basically, what I'm doing is setting up as if I'm doing a sit-up, so my knees are bent, my knees are, or my feet are pretty close to me, and I'm starting from a sitting position, and I'm gonna suck my stomach in the same thing, and then I'm gonna flatten my ribs down, and then I'm gonna even try to curve a little bit more forward, as curved as possible in my spine. And then while holding that tight stomach vacuum, I want to let myself come back down to the ground very slowly, trying to think about dropping each vertebrae down to the floor slowly. And I'm supposed to do this for, I believe he said 25 reps a day at least. So I, again, am trying to do at least 40 of these a day. These rehab exercises are way harder than they look. They are gonna cause you to sweat your ass off and be super, super, super worked. So what I'm doing is I'm putting it in before I do my actual weight training instead of after my weight training, so I can really put my concentration on it. Then I'm gonna hit my weights. But what I actually did was I tried this technique out of sucking my stomach in, flattening my ribs out, and bracing my back and bracing my body, squeezing my glutes while doing an upper body day the other day, and it actually caused it so that I was able to do quite a few different exercises with my shoulders and pressing movements that didn't hurt. And this is because I've been in this incorrect postural form and trying to use my shoulders and use my arms, and it's causing my shoulder blades not to go through the proper movements. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm okay to go straight into anything by any means, but I do believe that this is going to help me a lot by strengthening my transverse abdominis, which is the flat wall of muscle behind that six-pack. The six-pack is called your rectus abdominis. By strengthening that, I'm going to basically be able to counter my tight quadratus lumborum, my tight erector spinae, and basically set my spine in a neutral position, set my hips in a neutral position, so that I can have a good base to work from, because basically what I've been doing is working from an incorrect base, and that's causing all the form degeneration and all the impingements and all the problems I've been facing. So in 1 week from now, I go back in and we see how the things are changing now that I've been doing this daily and strengthening everything up, and we'll see if it gets better, and I have high hopes. All right, it's that time again. I want to show you guys what music I've been listening to in the gym lately, and there's some kind of weird stuff here. So first off, Deadly Verses by Gangsta Pat. This is probably too old school for a lot of you guys. It's some very OG rap right there. Ice-T, he's got Midnight, pretty dope. And then this was a subscriber suggestion, Twilight of the Thunder God by Amon Amarth. This one's not necessarily so much my style, but it's got a really cool, powerful vibe to it. But what I've really been listening to is this DMX song, X is Coming. This is one of the most brutal songs I've ever heard. If you listen to the second verse, it is just terrible. It is really, really, really gory and gruesome. And when I'm really trying to get an angry workout in, that's what I've been listening to, and I've been killing it. So another 2 weeks in the bag. I'm feeling pretty good about everything in terms of the progress, and I would say the only thing that's really kind of slowing me down is just the fact that this heat is so damn hot. Literally, I had to turn the AC off just to record this clip, and I'm already sweating on my eyebrows. It's terrible. It's really hot. I'm glad I shaved the beard. That's bringing down the temperature a little bit. The hair up here is keeping the heat pretty hot, but I know a lot of you guys are saying to cut it. I'm not gonna cut it. This is the flow for at least the rest of the year. I like this. This looks like Hercules to me. But in terms of the workouts and stuff, I've been feeling real strong. Again, I've been working through my shoulder injuries, so I haven't really been able to do tons of incline pressing and shoulders, but you guys know how that goes. I still feel like I've been able to add a lot of thickness to my physique. I feel like it's getting a lot better looking. I feel like I've actually leaned out a little bit this week. I didn't add too much weight, but I feel like I got a lot leaner. Me and Sammy have been spending a lot of time in LA. We've been doing some Veg Fest, we're doing some collaborations and stuff, so that is causing me to have to smash a lot of food in on Saturday and Sunday in between these trips, and it's making it a lot harder on those days to get my full calories, which is somewhere around 4,200 to 4,500 calories is what I'm aiming for. I'm not necessarily hitting that every single day, again, because some days it's really hot, I'm working really hard, and then it gets to the end of the night and I'm like, oh shoot, I have 2,500 calories. But I'd say probably about 4 or 5 nights out of the week, I have been able to hit my goals. And so I'm just trying to get tons and tons of calories in, trying to get an average of at least 130 grams of protein. And that's the way I do it, because a lot of you guys ask how I do it. I really just track the calories by keeping it in my mind, because that's pretty easy. And then I just make sure that I get over that amount of protein. And when you're getting that many calories in, it's pretty easy to get that much protein. So for this episode, I really just wanted to show you how my physique is looking, how it's changed a little bit, let you guys know that we are working out at a new gym. I know I showed you that in the last one. I just want to show you a little bit more of our workouts there and stuff. And also just to let you know that I'm doing this new rehabilitation course with this whole new, this place and this woman who's really knowledgeable. She's had a degree for like 20 years at the graduate program and all these different certifications and stuff. I talked to her really in depth, and it really sounds like she's confident. And I think that by doing this course with her and going in every week and working on everything, I truly think that we are going to be able to do a lot of things I haven't been able to do. A lot of overhead movements, shoulders, benching, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if you guys have ever been passionate about something extremely hard. I've been lifting for 10 years, and then all of a sudden at year 7, I just couldn't do half of the things that I wanted to do. It'd be like if you were really into mountain climbing, or if you're really into hiking or something, and all of a sudden you just couldn't do the really fun hikes. You could only do the practice run hikes. Because, you know, now I have to do tons of flies, I have to do a ton of isolation movements and stuff. It would be so dope to be able to do those heavy ass lifts on compounds. So I'm excited to get back to that. We'll track you week by week and show you what I'm doing. I'll show you my rehab exercises, show you my routines, how it's all working. Hopefully you guys can get some of the information out, and hopefully it helps you as well. But all of that will be covered in all of the next weeks of episodes, and I really hope that you enjoy the next episode of Resurrecting Hercules.